Hi. Thanks for joining me today. This is going to be episode number 114 of our Wisdom Wednesdays that's going to be talking about what in the world is wrong with me. So let me get a few things set up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I gathered some things that I've experienced in my life or have witnessed other people experiencing in their lives when they occasionally or chronically have this kind of feeling come over them. But first, I want to put things all into perspective and talk for just a moment about my motto, which is that we can live in harmony with the infinite wisdom that dreamed us into being. And with that energy, your whole life will be in flow and you'll be in harmony with the grand adventure that you came here to experience. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Carrie Fox. And one of my absolute missions in life is to be a constant reminder of your infinite wisdom connection. Hang on a second. I got to make a little bit change here. There we go. And that guidance of the infinite wisdom is always available for you. So don't ever feel alone or like you don't have any support, because infinite wisdom, your grand adventure, your cosmic consciousness is always here supporting you. And I also want to remind you that everything I do, these videos and everything else, is only because you're thriving. Well, that's my passion. So today we're going to look at that moment in time when you feel like you just don't know what's wrong with me. That feeling just takes you over, makes you feel like the rug has been pulled out from underneath you. So the first thing I want to talk about is that's a feeling. And feelings run the gamut. They can run from happy to sad, from confused to amused. But understand that feelings are a part of your grand adventure, are a part of your human experience. And it's really important, I think, for you to understand what feelings are, because so many people feel that they have no control over their feelings, and therefore they become a victim of their feelings. And that's just not true. That's you accepting a false truth. You are not a victim to your feelings. You have so much more control over your feelings than most people think they do. The biggest thing I want you to remember from today about your feelings is that feelings are magnetic. When you are feeling something inside, it's creating an energetic emanation. There's a frequency of that particular feeling, and that is actually going to be emanating from you. It's energy that you're putting out there. And I'd like you to consider that when you are having a feeling that you're not really happy with, what I want you to think about is this. You're ordering more of that. You're ordering more sadness from the universe when you're feeling sad. You're ordering more struggle from the universe when you're feeling that. Now, I'm not saying that the feelings of struggle or fear or sadness are not valid. They are valid. The point is how much you focus on them and how long you hang on to them. So if you learn nothing else about today, I want you to remember that you have control over your feelings, and it's important for you to understand that your feelings are magnetic. Another way to look at it is like this. Energy is the currency of the universe. It is both electric and magnetic. It is absolutely in every cell and molecule of your body. And that energy is emanating from you. It is what you're putting out there. Example, your cosmic ordering system. What are you ordering when you're feeling like you're having a broken heart? Think about the energetic emanation of that. If it's sad, then you are attracting more sadness or rejection or fear. And you are repelling love. If you're feeling brokenhearted, it's because you're feeling not loved, and that's what you're emanating. Don't bring any more love into my life. So one of the things I want to talk to you about, or make sure that I make the point of today, is you don't have to be in control of your feelings right now. I really want you, when you do have feelings that you recognize are not going to be beneficial for you, that you give yourself time with them rather than just take it away right now. But here's the big boner here, and that is set how long you're going to give into that energy. I commonly do 24 hours. When I'm shaken up about something, my heart's broken, whatever, I give myself 24 hours that I'm going to cry, I'm going to sob, I'm going to pound my hands on a pillow, but I'm going to get this feeling out of me. And the reason I've come to that point in the way that I take care of my emotions and my feelings is because one time, after a broken heart, I spent 2 years crying and grieving and feeling broken and feeling betrayed. 2 years of my life was gone. And for 2 years, that's the energy that I lived in. And once I learned how to get out of that, boy, I'm never going back there again. Never, 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 never. What a waste of time. So you can set a time of how long you're going to give into or cuddle or coddle any particular vibrational or feeling that you're having. So this is kind of, okay, it's going to lead us into the code. All right. So before I take you into the code, what I want to do is kind of review some of my basics of who you are and who you really aren't as a human being living on planet Earth. So if you've seen these before, you've probably seen me talk about this because it's very important and it's basic. So many people spend all their time, like the image on the left-hand side of this page. They spend all their time thinking about a human being on the planet Earth and what you're feeling and what you're hearing and what you're sensing and what you're doing. And oh, by the way, occasionally you remember that you have a spiritual connection. That's the little white dot in the middle of the chest there. But what you really are is the image on the right. You are cosmic consciousness. You are the universe, source, God. And you decided that you wanted to come down onto the planet Earth for a while, that you wanted to incarnate. So just a tiny little sliver of that energy of cosmic consciousness split apart, and you used that to come down and give you life force as a human being on the planet Earth. So who you really are is cosmic consciousness, or the infinite wisdom that dreamed you into being. So how did that come about? Well, I made this meme hoping I could explain it for you a little better. When you were cosmic consciousness and you had this idea that you wanted to incarnate on planet Earth, you had, first of all, to have your grand adventure. That's your first purpose. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Everybody has that. But then you also might have had certain things that you wanted to do, certain way of being of service to the planet or to help with this or that, whatever the case may be. So you designed your human DNA blueprint for you so that you had the talents and the skills and the experiences to do what you wanted to do in your grand adventure and your life purposes. So when you are having those sad feelings like what's wrong with me, or I have a broken heart, or he done me wrong, all of those things, at that point in the game, you are out of harmony with the infinite wisdom that dreamed you into being. So when you get into that point of saying, what's wrong with me? This is a good time to step back and say, okay, what could be causing this? Now, if you had an experience or an event happen, somebody died, you could be grieving, that's valid. But what if you're having this feeling and there's no event that has happened in your life? The next thing I want you to do is to learn about biorhythms and look up your biorhythms. By the way, if I'm talking fast, I wanted to keep this short today, and I ended up taking some slides out and things like that because this ended up to be longer than I wanted it to be. So this is a biorhythm chat. We're just going to talk a graph. We're just going to talk about it lightly. Upper right-hand corner is a key. And that key says to you that there's a line across the center that's got little dashes in it. That's about days of the month. It says that there's a physical line that's going to be red, an emotional line that's going to be blue, and an intellectual line that's going to be green. Now let's look down at the chart, and you can see that those red and blue and green lines are going up and down from that center line that we talked about. Well, that's what happens with you from the day you're born till the day you die, is you have these cycles in your physical energy. You have these cycles in your emotional energy. You have these cycles in your intellectual energy. And they are always happening. So you could be, let's say we'll look at the intellectual for a moment. You know, sometimes you can attend a class or you can be studying something and you just get it, you just get it. You're listening to the speaker speaking. You don't have to take notes or nothing. You're getting it. And then there's other times, same speaker, same situation, same you, and they can say something 10 times and you don't have the faintest idea what they're talking about. That is when your intellectual biorhythm lines are above the line. You can absorb intellectual things. You're firing on all 12 cylinders. And when you're below the line, your intellectual isn't working so well. So that's kind of what biorhythms are. Well, just think about it since we're talking about why you're feeling hurt or broken or wondering what's wrong with you. That's usually an emotional situation. So when your emotional line's above the line, people can say things to you like they don't like your blouse, and you go, well, gee, too bad for you. I love my blouse. I know you've all had these moments. And then when it's below the line, you might have somebody say, I don't like that blouse, and you go, oh no, does it look bad on me? Ugh. But there's a moment that's worse than that, and that's the day that it's crossing that line. Look over to the left. It calls it the caution line. On the day a line is crossing that line from above to below or below to above is called a caution line, because that's a day it's like there's a little glitch in your systems. It's like you're shifting gear. So on that same day that your emotional is crossing the center line would be the day that somebody says to you, gosh, that blouse doesn't look good at you, and you can't stop yourself. The tears come right up to your eyes because you're emotionally vulnerable at that particular moment. So biorhythms are really helpful, really important, a great thing to know. I can't tell you the hundreds, maybe thousands of people in my decades of doing this who I've taught this to, and then they'll, be in a session and they'll say something's wrong, and I'll say, have you checked your biorhythms? And they'll say no. So we'll check their biorhythms, and sure enough, there's the answer to what's going on with them. So this is a great thing for you. If you want to learn more about it, I did an episode about biorhythms. It was episode 29. So if you go on the YouTube channel, Harmony Enterprises with Carrie Fox, we'll talk about that again in a few minutes. Episode 29 was the importance of understanding your biorhythms. So that's one of the things that can cause you to be feeling the way you're feeling. Another would be astrological influences, or the position of the planets in relationship to you and the planet Earth. Because you, when you decided to incarnate on the planet Earth and you set up that DNA blueprint, you chose exactly where on the planet Earth you wanted to be born, to what parents, and what you wanted the relationship of you to be to all the planets at the time that you're born. Here's an astrological chart that shows how astrologists just look at it. You don't need to understand this. What you need to understand is you have a relationship to every one of those planets that are in the sky, and some asteroids and things that are not planets, like the moon. But you have a relationship as where that planet was to you at the moment you were born. That's your home relationship with that planet. Whether it was this planet over here or this planet over here, that's your home relationship with that planet. But the planet doesn't stay there. The Earth, it revolves, and the planets are moving all over the place. So there can be a moment in time where this planet, one specific planet, is going to be sending you a signal that you need to look at something, let's say, okay? So you can look at your astrological relationship and see why you might be feeling bad, because right now this planet is sending you this kind of a message. Now, an easy way for me to say this to you is the moon. Again, I'm going to try not to take too long on this. And that is, most people understand that the moon causes high tides and low tides because it pushes and pulls on water. Well, those other 9 planets in the sky do the same thing. They push and they pull on you energetically. So talking about energy in the moon, we have to talk about the full moon, because so many people get aha moments when I tell them this. Full moon is when the energy of the sun bypasses the earth, hits the moon, and comes back and shines down on the backside of the planet where it's supposed to be night. So therefore, during a full moon, there's a whole bunch more energy coming down onto the planet that people aren't ready for. They don't understand it. If you have followed police reports and stuff like that, jails are fuller on the full moon, hospital emergency rooms are fuller on a full moon, people get in fights and arguments on the full moon, and it's almost all because they don't understand that it's just energy and they can use that energy. For instance, I know during a full moon, plus or minus 3 or 4 days on both sides, I don't need to sleep so much. Some people say, I can't sleep during a full moon. I say, I don't need to sleep so much. There's extra energy. I can sleep 2 hours or 3 hours on any of those full moon days and still have full of energy the next day. I don't get tired at all because the planet has experienced this extra energy. What I've learned to do, how to use that energy, is if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I've only slept for 2 hours. I just kind of, check in with myself and say, yeah, but I'm awake. My body's done resting. Oh yeah, it's full moon time. I can go work on projects that my heart has wanted me to get going on, and I just haven't had time to do that. So I've learned how to use the gift of the full moon's energy, and now you know that, so you can do that too. So when you're in the state of thinking, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel broken? There's one more point I want to make today. And that is today that these emotions just might be signals to you. They might not be a reaction to your biorhythms where they are, or the astrological influences. They may be a signal to you. If you look on the left side of this chart, you're going to see that there's three feelings that are listed there. The first one is stress. You may be receiving stress because the universe is trying to remind you, you need to slow down. You need to get some self-care. You are working yourself into a grave. Or you may be feeling sad. That may be the universe telling you, hey, it's time for you to find more joy. Go out, have fun, be happy. Or you might be feeling anxious, and that's the universe telling you, stop. Ground, be here, be now, because almost always anxiety has to do with something in the future, and you're not in the future, you're in the now. So whenever you are feeling these energies, another thing that you can do is ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? It might be that infinite wisdom is giving you a nudge. Have recognized this so many times. So here's the infinite wisdom on the right-hand side. When you're living in harmony with the infinite wisdom that dreamed you into being, and you're walking the path that you created and that you wanted to walk, you're laying in a bed of roses. Everything's going smoothly. But on the left, when you're out of harmony with that infinite wisdom, when you're starting to make choices that taking you down a path that's 100 miles away from the grand adventure that you came here to experience, and you're finding struggle and disappointment and bereavement and disloyalty and all of those things, universe, infinite wisdom is telling you, hey, you're off your path. Your path is over here. You've got different choices to make. Pay attention. So a gentler, happier, more wonderful feeling is when you are in harmony with that, and your life is so much more gentle and flowing, as the picture on the right. So again, when you hit that moment of saying, what's wrong with me? It's time for you to take control. It's time for you to reset yourself, readjust yourself, restart yourself, refocus. And you can do this as many times as you need to. This isn't a once in a lifetime thing, because you are constantly changing and growing and living your grand adventure. Every hour by every day, things are changing. So if you find yourself going down a certain path and you feel something's weird, and you check your biorhythms and your astrological positions, and that doesn't explain it, almost always the third explanation will be, look at the choices you've been making, you're going off path. So this is the key and the code that I was talking to you about. Changing the way you feel, the energy that you are emanating. Pay attention to what it is, and don't spend a lot of time feeling anxious or scared or in struggle, because you're putting those invitations, you're putting those instructions out to the universe that you want more of it. Do what you can to make sure that at 80% at least of your time is you feeling wonderful and having gratitude and being happy. And yes, you're going to have those down times too, but you don't have to let those down times become your habit. You don't have to let those down times become your habit. You're in control. You can change your view. You can change your view from what's wrong with me to, all right, what's right about me? What's right with me? And another thing I want to bring up is several years ago, I started doing this because I was in kind of a down period. I was having trouble getting out of it. What I did is I had, for a while, I used a kitchen timer, an egg timer kind of thing. And I had to go off about every 1 or 2 hours, depending on what was happening in my life. And it just had to ding to remind me, okay, check in. What vibrations are you putting out? Oh, no, you're worried right now. You're thinking about this. Stop it. Okay, let's smile. Let's be happy. Oh, God, remember that time I fell off the swing? Oh, and you put yourself, say, oh, change your pattern, change your rhythm, change your vibrations. Also, there's a smartphone apps that you can use to do the same thing. And when your phone buzzes or whatever, however you set it up, it's just a reminder to check in with yourself, check your vibrations, raise your vibrations, because that's the magnetic vibrations you want to be putting out so that you can live in harmony with the infinite wisdom that dreamed you into being all the way back to the beginning. So here's what we did today on episode 114 of Wisdom Wednesday. We looked at the different scenarios and possible occasional or chronic feelings of what's wrong with me. And I talked to you about how you can check your biorhythms. There's hundreds of websites. Just Google biorhythms. You'll find websites that'll show you charts like that. You put in your birth date and it'll show you, it'll show you, I could go on for another 10 minutes. I love biorhythms. Or you can check the astrological position of the planets and how that could be influencing you right now. And third of all is recognizing if your infinite wisdom is trying to nudge you and tell you you're walking off course. You need to get back on course. You've got this great adventure waiting for you. So if you'd like to join us live for the next Wisdom Wednesday, it's going to be episode number 115. It's going to be called Get Out of Your Head. And it's all about helping you find your own personal peace practice. And I share with you my Stop Your Mind process. It's going to be 1:00 p.m. Central Time on June 23rd on my Facebook page, which is Harmony Enterprises with Carrie Fox, right there. And we do this, I don't think that shows. Maybe you can see it here. We do this on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. And then at the end of that, I do go ahead and I upload it to YouTube. Again, it's called Harmony Enterprises with Carrie Fox. So all the past issues of this Wisdom Wednesdays are in there. So I hope you enjoyed this today. Again, if you don't know who I am or if you forgot who I am, my name is Carrie Fox. I'm with Harmony Enterprises, and your thriving is my passion. So that means that you can always reach out to me for some kind of help or some kind of supported guidance that you might be needing. You can do it by putting comments in these videos, or you can send me an email at carrie.fox@harmonyenterprises.net. So now it's time for me to go, time for you to go and have your grand adventure. Slip back onto the path of your grand adventure so that you don't get into the habit of feeling like there's something wrong with you. As always, from my heart to yours, bye for now.